The cat ate my gymsuit. Chapter 4. Smedley wasn't a person. It was a club. What happened was that 25 kids came, which was really good, because a lot of the kids had to take buses to school, and staying after meant a long walk, or having someone pick you up. We figured that the club should have a name. Nancy suggested the Self Club. Joel wanted it to be called Interpersonal Persons. Alan Smith said that we should be named the Sherlock Holmes Crew because we all would be searching to find ourselves. That kid is probably going to be a detective someday, or a peeping Tom. A kid from another class said, "Why don't we just call ourselves Smedley, after that dopey guy in our grammar book who's always looking for the right way to say things?" Everyone liked that. Miss Finney said that we should begin by examining what had just happened, that each of us should look at how we acted in the group, and how we all finally agreed. This, she said, was called group dynamics in action. She said that she had taken college courses involving that sort of thing, and that she had had a minor in something called human organizational, or something or other. I don't remember exactly, but it sounded good. So we talked about it and saw that some people have different roles in a group. Some are leaders. Some are reactors. Alan thought that meant that he was like an atomic reactor. Joel said that Alan and Robert Alexander always acted like clowns when they wanted attention or were afraid of something. They both got mad at him and called him a brainy creep. He called them cretins, and finally Miss Finney had to tell them to stop. "Okay, that's enough. If you want me to be advisor to this club, we all have to work things out. Let's begin with an exercise to get acquainted." Nancy raised her hand and said, "Miss Finney, that's silly. We've known each other since kindergarten." Miss Finney looked around the room. "You may have known each other since kindergarten, but do you really know each other? I bet you don't. I've noticed that some of you don't even talk to people who aren't in your classes." She split us up into pairs and told us to spend 15 minutes getting to know the other person. I thought I was going to die. She had put Joel and me together. Joel pulled his desk near mine and said, "Hi, I'm Joel Anderson." I just nodded my head. "You should tell me your name now." How could I tell him? I was so nervous I couldn't remember anything. Finally, it came to me. "Hi, I'm Marcy Lewis." Joel asked, "Have you always lived here?" Again, I nodded my head. I just couldn't stand it. I felt like such a blob, a real idiot. Joel tried again. "What would you like to tell me about yourself?" I didn't know. Was I supposed to tell him I was a blimp, trying to disguise myself as a real person? Or that I probably had a horrible case of contagious impending pimples? Or that I had this weird brother with a teddy bear filled with orange pits? Or that I thought he was cute and brave and probably thinking about how suicide would be better than talking to me? I finally looked down at my desk and said, "I'm Marcy Lewis, 13. I hate dancing lessons, grammar tests, and questions." He said, "Don't you like anything?" I thought for a while and said, "Yeah, I like Miss Finney, reading books, and felt tip markers." Then I sat there, trying to think of something, anything, to ask him. "Joel, do you like Miss Finney?" "Yes, I do." "Were you scared when you got mad at the class and told them to give her a chance?" "Why should I be scared, saying what I believe?" "Aren't you afraid that people won't like you?" Joel just looked at me. I decided that I better change the subject. "Do you have any brothers or sisters?" I asked. "No." "What do you want to be when you grow up?" "Joel Anderson." Mrs. Finney told the class to pull the desk into a circle, and that each of us had to introduce our partner to the group. Everybody seemed to know new things about the others. When my turn came, I said, "This is Joel Anderson. He doesn't have any brothers, sisters, or pets, and I think he's smart." Then I sat back and waited for Joel to introduce me. "This is Marcy Lewis. She says that she doesn't like lots of things, but I bet she really does. And she has a nice smile." I couldn't believe it. I'd been sure he was going to say something like, "This is Marcy Lewis. She's a real creep and doesn't know how to talk." Or, "This is Marcy. She might even look human if she didn't look like a Mack truck. I wasn't used to anyone saying anything nice, except Nancy and my mother, because I had to. Once we had finished with all the introductions, Ms. Finney told us all to reach out to the people at the desk on either side of us, hold hands, close our eyes, and think about the group. Joel was on one side of me, Ms. Finney on the other. All I could think about was how scared I was that my hands were sweaty. I was also afraid that they would notice that my fingernails were all bitten down. The group sat like that for a long time. Then everybody sort of let go, and Ms. Finney said that we should all go home and write a self-description to bring in for the next week, one that only she would read. I was afraid to look at Joel. All of a sudden, I heard him say, "Bye, Marcy. See you in class tomorrow." He had talked to me in front of all those people. I was so excited, but I just smiled and said, "Yeah, see ya, Joel." Nancy and I walked home, Beauty and the Blimp, Wonder Woman and the Blob who ate Brooklyn. Nancy was really excited about Smedley. She kept saying how much fun it would be, how she liked to get to know people, and how she thought it would be good for me. I asked her why. "Oh, Marcy, you know, you're so hung up about your weight. You and your family don't talk to each other, and you're so afraid of things, and you shouldn't be." I just clumped along, biting my nails and thinking about what she had said.